Welcome to my basement, everybody.
Hello, Victor Lucas. Let's get things started today by conveying a little bit of sad news, a little bit of bad news. I am not going to Fan Expo in Toronto this year.
No, you are not.
Tell them why.
We are just, we're not sending the whole crew this year.
Is it because of the Bitman thing?
No, it's not the Bitman thing. It's just,
Bitman!
It's mostly, it's a budgetary thing. We just can't afford to send everybody this year. It's,
I'm sad.
It's a lot of dough to do it. And
what am I going to do?
We've done it a couple of years in a row, and I just couldn't justify the expense this time. We've got other things that we need to kind of focus our money on.
I feel like this is, you're sending a message. You're trying to tell me something.
No, I'm not, because there's a lot of us that aren't going to be there. It's going to be the Toronto teams, and I'm coming out because you know, it's important to me, and it was important to Fan Expo that I come out and,
you will
and meet with
be
everybody.
the big star there.
Well, that's...
Who's going to fucking block the bullets if someone tries to assassinate you? Because that's what I do.
No, listen how dark you've already gotten. Yes, it will be very sad not to have everybody there.
This is how I wake up in the morning. What are you talking about?
It's true.
Come on,
it will be sad not to see the whole team.
I love Toronto.
I know, and it's
one of my favorite cities in the world.
We always have an incredible time because we have so many viewers in Toronto. You know,
the shopping there is excellent.
Yeah,
that's where I can go to buy my furs.
I know, it's a great city.
Well,
listen, I will miss you. The city will miss you. Fan Expo will miss you.
Shit, this is the first time I think since I moved here that I'm not going to go.
Well, we'll make it a big deal when we come back next year as a group.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go home and see my family.
Yep. You're going to go on a vacation. My nieces.
I do want a little bit of a vacation, so I'm going to take some time off and let you go and bask in the spotlight.
Yep, and I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to be able to take a vacation. It's been a big, busy year, man. We've done a lot of stuff already this year.
What year hasn't been busy?
I don't know.
For you.
I know. It's been insane.
24/7. That's what this job is.
It has been insane.
We love it.
This is more than a job. This is my life.
So this is the, I think, the 400th day in a row of sunshine. It's relentless here. Even in the basement, a little bit of sun got down into the basement, and it started to burn a hole through some of the garbage on the floor. Yeah,
and it's been a little bit tricky to just sort of bury myself here in the basement and play video games without any guilt. You know, I mean, obviously, it's
what is that summer guilt? What is that thing we feel?
I was talking about when you have the sun streaming in. You know, obviously, I have a daughter that's calling out for me now a little bit more too. But you know, when the sun is streaming in, it's just a little bit weird to curl up in your darkness and play video games. But I have been digging into Saints Row 4.
Darkness. That sounds like the name of a good acoustic album.
Totally. I've been playing Saints Row 4 and Pikmin 3, which is a great contrast.
I can't do any gaming right now because it's too sunny.
Yeah,
because all the sun comes in the window. Even when I have the blinds lowered in my apartment. Because I moved to a new place now. I live on the 14th floor.
Yeah.
Just like the Jeffersons.
Yep.
Moved on up. And there's too much sun and there's so much glare that when I go back to a game like The Last of Us, which is so relentlessly dark and it's so relentlessly sunny out, I mean, the sun doesn't even go down here until like 10 o'clock. I can't even start gaming until 10:30. So I haven't been really gaming at all.
Yeah.
You know,
I have been. I miss it. You know, and I'm getting really excited for the new machines, and I really want to play some of the new stuff that's coming out. It's been fun.
What new stuff? What the fuck are you excited about?
I was thinking of Titanfall the other day. I'm thinking of Infamous like crazy. Infamous is actually going to be, if you're listening to this before it airs, Infamous is number 95 on our top 100 list, and that's Infamous as a franchise. We're huge fans of that. It's been really cool, actually, to.
Let me guess what you're going to be able to do in that game. Go around and do things like you could in Infamous 1 and Infamous 2.
You're a superhero. You know, and you can do that in Saints Row 4 too.
It's the same shit, man.
I love that stuff, though, man.
I love it too, but I've done it too many times. I'll tell you what.
Saints Row 4 is... I
haven't played it.
It's Crackdown.
Did I tell you it's too bright in my apartment?
Yeah, I know, but it's Crackdown, brother.
Listen, this is what I played. I took a train trip down to Seattle last weekend. We had a 3-day holiday weekend here in Canada. And
Kingdom Rush.
I played fucking Kingdom Rush. I never wanted that train to arrive at its destination. I cannot tell you.
That is
I have to erase this thing
because
my
go-to as well, man.
It eats up the hour. You know what? I'm going to tell you something.
And my 3DS in my bed with me as I'm trying to curl up and go to sleep.
I'm going to tell you something.
Kingdom Rush is what I go back to all the time. It's ridiculous.
You know, it's so hard. It's so unapologetically hard. And I'll tell you what. It's not hard in a way that makes it seem impossible.
No,
I always think it's my fault when the levels don't work out.
You get to the 15th level, You get very far into that last round, and then a fleet of little spiders or dogs runs past your dude, and you fucking flip out.
That's what I love, though, is the way that the game forces me to memorize stuff, because I'll be like, okay, there's going to be the flying wasp at some point, and I'm going to have to make sure that I have the arrow towers all leveled up to deal with those guys. And so you start making these plans in your head. And whenever you get to a moment in a video game where you start making those plans, where it's like when you're a kid and you're drawing plans in the dirt when you're on the sandlot. You start making those plans. That's when I'm having fun.
That's when the game crosses over and becomes a novel. And you're reading through chapters when
I don't know about that.
I mean,
I don't know about your metaphor. I can't support that metaphor.
I mean, that's the way I feel. Like if I'm really wrapped up in a story.
When's the last time you read a novel?
Long time ago. Long time ago. Maybe before I started Electric
Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah.
But listen, I think you're not going to like this.
Yeah.
I think this is a strong candidate for Game of the Year. I probably spent more time playing this game than any other game in 2013.
I like it. I think it's a great game.
I don't like it. I love it.
I like that statement. I think it's an irrefutably addictive, engrossing.
It's the right size. It's on the right platform.
It's amazing, yeah.
And I think that's such a huge part of what we always talk about. Is it the right size for the right platform?
Fuck, mobile is killing it right now. There's no question.
Not really. What else is there?
Deus Ex: The Fall is kick-ass.
There's like 3 other mobile games that are worth playing besides this one.
There are other cool games. Home, which Sean and Marissa just reviewed, is really cool on iOS.
I kept reading about this ridiculous fishing game, and so I bought it.
Yeah.
Like an asshole.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Well, it's waiting in line at the bank game.
Well, it'd be a nice game if it was 2009. Right. I'm like, we've come so far from this kind of silly, gimmicky bullshit.
And Deus Ex: The Fall is just like that, too. It's a console game that you can play. I mean, I
haven't tried it.
It's deep as hell, and XCOM is deep as hell. I still love Starfleet Command. I mean, there's lots of these really great, core, awesome experiences. And I have been downloading games. I want to jump into Dragon's Crown on the Vita.
Dragon's Crown?
Yeah, this
sounds
is
like
the
a medical
new
condition.
Muramasa kind of looking type game. It's like a side-scrolling RPG that you can play with
Dragon's
up to 4
Crown,
people.
okay.
You can play between the PS3 and the Vita. I got a chance to look at it at E3, and it's beautiful.
Well, listen, when I took my train trip last week, and I brought the Vita with me. I powered it all up. I got a bunch of games. Thomas Was Alone. I got Guacamelee.
Yeah.
And I still have what's that, Hotline Miami all on there.
Yeah.
And I brought it with me. Didn't even touch it.
And you
went my Vita took a nice trip to Seattle last weekend.
The other thing is Kingdom Rush is one of those games that you will sink so many hours into, and you're done with gaming. Like it's like you've put 3 hours into it, and it's like, oh my god, 3 hours have just been sucked out of my life. I can't really just like now start a new Vita game. You've got to put it all away. I mean, that's the.
Well, you feel kind of like gaming exhaustion,
yes,
and
I know.
And it's a nice feeling, and I don't feel it often enough these days. And you're right, because what I would do is I'd close the iPad. I play it on the iPad Mini, which you gave me as a Christmas gift last year. I appreciate that. And then I'd close it up, and I'd wait like 10 minutes, and then I would be back in there again. Well, I couldn't get enough, and now there's new levels. There's a free update. I love how Armor Games has been they've been so liberal with sharing free content and keeping that game alive and keeping it on the radar. They're like, here's the game, and then they're done with it. They keep adding shit to it.
Well, I'll tell you,
that is awesome. That kind of support is so awesome. And they don't ask you to pay for it.
The 3DS has been open quite a bit for me too. Playing more Donkey Kong Country. What happened is that Super Luigi U, which we reviewed on the show, which was fun, made me kind of miss a little Super Mario Brothers 2 and Donkey Kong on the 3DS, and those have been go-to escapes for me as well. You could beat a level, or try to speed through a level and then continue on. You close it, but they don't have it. Even those games, they don't suck the hours away like Kingdom Rush does right now. And I totally am speaking your language. I feel what you're saying, because I am exactly in the same position.
I don't even play it during the week because I just don't have time. I don't even want to turn it on.
It's so
Monday
much
through
better
Friday.
than Field Runners too. I mean, Field Runners is a shadow for me.
No,
I mean I love Field Runners.
It doesn't have the personality.
Kingdom Rush
that
is
Kingdom
something
Rush
about
has.
it, and there's lots of other good tower defense things out there, but there's something about Kingdom Rush. You feel like
Field Runners is still a masterpiece.
I know it is,
but it doesn't have the warm heart.
I almost
that Kingdom
bought.
Rush
There's a new with the monsters, Pixel Junk Monsters Deluxe for the Vita. is out on the Vita, and I've played that thing way too much, which is another fantastic tower defense game. I don't really want to download that and get sucked into that when I've got the Kingdom Rush addiction still burning.
Pixel Junk Monsters, still, it was one of my first tower defense experiences.
What is it with tower defense? Why the fuck are they so fun? What's the deal with these things?
Because it's kinetic, but it's also cerebral at the same time, and it's the perfect blend of the two things because you're constantly, and I think it also works great on these portable platforms. I don't want to sit in front of my TV and play these fucking things.
Now, I'm not a League of Legends guy, and I don't play StarCraft 2 competitively or anything like that, but I would imagine that's the pull for those kinds of games as well. You know,
it's a little twitchy, but also really intellectual.
Yeah, I want to hear from people that are listening, actually, if they play those games, and what is it about those games that really pulls them into those experiences. And I'm actually hankering. I want to try that stuff. I want to see, you know, I want to pull myself away from the consoles and the tablets and everything and sit down at the PC and really sink myself into those kinds of experiences for a while.
I think if you look back over the last 20 years or so, I mean, this is one of the only new genres we've had. You know,
tower defense?
Yeah. I mean, it's
well, and it's an old genre. I mean, it's something from the classic days of Mac gaming and everything. I mean, there's been old tower defense. It just was revitalized.
Really?
Yeah.
I never played it. I never played it until Pixel Junk, and until it kind of had a pop culture moment, and until you know, and Pixel Junk was my first exposure, and I remember I never beat that game. It was one of the hardest video games I've ever played. But you know what I would do? Every night I would hurl myself into the fucking gears of that game and get chewed up and spat out, and I would get up the next day and do it again.
It's Advance Wars. It's XCOM. XCOM was, you know, ranked high up on our 100 list as well. It's these cerebral strategy. You know, beat the computer. You feel like a you know, a super smart person if you're able to advance to the next level. These are incredible games. You know, they're games that really they test your puzzle solving skills and your strategic skills as much as anything else. You know, plus when you add the you know, graphic richness and some character and some nice little music bursts and some cool voice dialogue pieces. It's a really compelling piece of entertainment, man.
I don't know what it is with the voices in Kingdom Rush, because I hated them so much at first, and it really turned me off.
But then you turn the sound off and you miss them.
And then, you know, like there's that part where you can upgrade your bomb towers, the ones that lob the bombs, to the maximum. And the guy he is kind of an Irish brogue. He's, let's get ready to rumble.
I know,
and I'm just like, I kind of look forward to hearing that now.
Me too.
And I don't know why, because I should hate it.
Because you spend a fortune to get that "Let's get ready to rumble." The other thing that I really love in the game is the super fast speed arrows that come out of the arrow turrets, with the guys all up in the rooftop shooting the bows and arrows.
Yes.
If you advance to the third level of that, you are completely badass, because it's like machine gun arrow shots
are going down.
I love it. I love it. Okay, enough Kingdom Rush. We are now talking about Kingdom Rush as much as we're playing Kingdom Rush.
So we went over what we're playing, and now let's talk about what we're watching. What TV shows are you watching these days? I
was watching Justified, the new season of Justified, or the most recent season of Justified. I love that show. It's based on Elmore Leonard's work. And Timothy Olyphant is perfectly cast as this marshal. You know, witty dialogue. It's got kind of a Kentucky bluegrass kind of take on old school 30s patter, and I love that kind of thing. It's got a pulpy sensibility about it. And all the actors are wonderful in the flick, and there's lots of guest stars. Eric Layden actually was in one of the shows not so long ago.
Oh, I like Eric.
And, you know, I just love the show, and I got into about the 5th or 6th episode, and it was a nice little escape from all the other things that we have going on around here. And then Telus, who has the service that I have, I'm on the Optic service or whatever.
Okay.
For some reason, it's not there now. So I'm halfway through a season, and I was watching them from the on-demand thing. You know, they've got.
Is this going to turn into a rant?
Well, I just like, if it's there, just give us the whole season first of all. If you've got an on-demand thing, because I want to watch the new season of The Killing, and I missed the run of that, and I didn't record it. So you know, on demand on AMC's little channel there on your cable box, they have like 4 episodes of like episode 7, 8, 9. I want to watch the whole thing from the beginning. If you're going to offer on demand of these shows,
let them have it, Vic.
Put the whole damn thing up there, and let people see it for a year.
Preach on, brother man.
It's ridiculous. I did watch a little bit more of the Ray Donovan It was okay.
Oh, fuck that show.
It's a little bleak. And I've been watching a little bit more Dexter. You know what show has been riveting? And I know you haven't watched any of this yet. So
yeah, what do you got?
The Newsroom. And I know that it's...
I heard that it had a really terrible ending the first season. That's what that was the word on the street.
I think this is one of those divisive types of shows out there because Aaron Sorkin is the writer and creator of the show. He likes to preach like crazy in his dialogue, and everybody is smug, especially Jeff Daniels' character. And he's always on the right side of every decision, and he's just a smarmy, know-it-all, self-righteous. But there is a purity to the aspirational messages that they're creating in the way that they look at news and the way that they're trying to tell a better story there. And they're slapping the wrists of cable news like crazy through the programming of each episode. They're also, dissecting the Tea Party, dissecting the Wall Street protests. There's what Sorkin kind of does is he interweaves real life events and real life dates into the fiction of the storytelling.
Okay.
And he paints a picture of the conflict in a newsroom when they're trying to make money as a business and they got to appeal to the people that run the networks and get those ratings and sell those advertisers. Trying to create news as entertainment. And Jeff Daniels' character and the executive producer of the Newsroom are trying to get back to purity and get back to civility and create something that actually has value and a meaning. And sometimes it gets too soapboxy. Olivia Munn has a big role on the show, which is kind of crazy because I've known her for I don't know her, but I've known her from Attack of the Show and all of those days. So it's really weird to see her sort of move up the ranks in Hollywood to this kind of a level, but I think she's doing a really good job actually on the show. I just love the show. I just think I get lost in the rhythms of the dialogue. Sometimes it's too wordy. Sometimes people don't take a breath, and there's like the way I'm talking all the time. But there's just a lot of messages coming at you, but the actors are so damn good that you get lost in these conversations, And I was watching it the other night with my wife, and I could tell that we were both locked into the show. We weren't thinking about any other social media or anything else happening in our lives. This was just, we were lost in this world. And I think that happens so rarely right now in TV. There's so many decent shows out there or good shows, but they don't completely consume you as effectively as this one does.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it, so you got nothing on it.
But I feel like I have heard enough from you now that I don't need to see it.
I think you have to see it.
I think I'm too busy.
No, it's a really good show. A lot of people don't like it, but I really like it.
That's enough about that.
It's my show. Maybe it's because I make TV and I can kind of see. It's interesting for me to see sort of behind the scenes on that kind of stuff from that perspective as well. But I really love the show.
Yeah, I've been watching Boardwalk Empire, the first season, and I'm not impressed. I feel like everything is there for a terrific TV show. Yeah. I feel like all the elements are there. We've got a terrific setting. We've got Atlantic City during Prohibition. We got all the right actors. We got Scorsese producing. We've got Steve Buscemi playing Nucky Thompson. All kinds of great performances, great writing. And it just doesn't lift off for some reason. It doesn't ever really come together. It doesn't feel like we're finding out any new information.
It's a meandering first season for sure. The second season is much better.
I know, but it's just like, who sticks around for multiple seasons? And it's one of these slow burn shows where everyone keeps saying, "Hey, just stick with it. It gets a little bit better." I would rather go play Kingdom Rush. I know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why the Newsroom has been a kind of a shock because it's not about death. It's not about gangsters. It's not about serial killers. It's not about bikers. It's, about kind of normal people in extraordinary kind of situations. And they're just sort of trying to kind of navigate through all of that stuff. And there doesn't seem to be too much television like that. Either it's sitcoms or it's the bleakest shit imaginable. And the Newsroom kind of sits in the middle of it, but it's an adult show with people losing their cool and swearing and being stressed out and being pushed to their limits kind of emotionally, but nobody's getting tortured.
I have these hopes when I sit down with any TV show that it's just going to You know, that suction moment where
Homeland
you're like,
will do that.
I am right here. Yeah, Homeland and Justified are the two shows I think I'm going to explore next.
Those get super dark.
The other thing,
it is amazing how much dark TV there is.
Well, it's the era of the anti-hero, right?
Yeah,
we go with we got Walter White, and we've got Tony Soprano, and we've got Don Draper, and it's just like these people. I mean, they seem more human somehow. Nobody's perfect, right? But these guys are so far from perfect.
But it's exhausting. I mean, my wife and I, we get sucked into all these great shows like most people are right now. And, at the end of a week, after you've watched a bunch of these things on your PVR, it's just, if you don't feel good, like
hey, life's a dirty business, I guess. That's the message.
Yeah, you watch, Dexter kill somebody, and then you watch the cops on the killing try to solve the killing of somebody. Then you watch a little Homeland, and somebody's being tortured.
But you know what I do? I'm still working my way through Cheers. Yeah. Fuck you for laughing. It's season 3.
Yeah, okay.
And
that's a classic sitcom. There's a beauty and an art and a
Are you kidding? Yes.
I love that show, and
that show really lifts off.
I don't think a lot of people realize this, and I don't really tell this story too often, but Friends was actually one of my favorite shows when I was conceiving The Electric Playground. And I love the informality and the genuine sort of love that the characters all had for each other. And when I was thinking of Electric Playground as this new way to kind of create news magazine programming around this kind of fan-based entertainment, I wanted a team that genuinely cared for each other and hung out together like the cast of Friends.
Oh, my God.
It was utopian. It was idealistic for sure, but I wanted it to feel...
You're so fucking corny sometimes.
Yeah, but come on.
Listen, I'm talking about Cheers.
That's kind of what happened with the show.
Somehow you took my Cheers digression and
you didn't like Friends?
You turned it into your Friends. Fuck Friends, man.
You like Friends. Come on, Chandler.
No, even if I like Friends, I wouldn't admit it
You
in
like
public.
Friends.
No.
It was a great show.
Never admit that again in public.
Awesome show.
Listen, so you know who really
I also
brings...
like Lost.
Season 3, Kelsey Grammer comes onto the show as Fraser Crane, and man, it's the right moment to introduce a new character. He's Diane's love interest in the third season. Sam's got his shirt open. The man has hair on his chest, let me tell you.
Yeah.
This is back late 80s, early 90s. I'm a little jealous, right?
Yeah. Are you jealous?
He's got his pants up to like just below his nipples for some reason. He always wears his pants pulled up so high.
That was the
and
style back then.
He's got the beautiful fucking lion's mane of hair.
That was a...
And you know what? I got to tell you, that I'm not sure it was a toupee back then, but you can see that it's thinning out in spots. I know he completely lost all of his hair.
Yeah.
And may that never happen to us. All right. But it makes me feel good before I go to bed, and I always have a nice dream.
Nice.
And I wake up feeling a little more positive, and then the next day, and it's a nice sort of day-ending palate cleanser. I watch it on my little iPad Mini.
Yeah.
And it's great. And I still have 5 more fucking seasons to go.
Awesome.
I still got the Kirstie Alley years.
And then you can move on to Friends. And Friends will make you very happy.
I've never seen that show.
Yes, you have. Great show. Chandler has that crazy ex-girlfriend.
So
it's good. I think a duck moves in for a little while. It's a fun show, man.
Jennifer Aniston and We're the Millers. Now we
saw that.
We saw that. Yeah, that was shit. Don't go see that. We saw The Mortal Instruments, The City of Bones.
I thought that was okay. That's next week, though. We can't talk about that.
I thought it was shit. Anyway, let's look at the box office.
Well, we can talk about Elysium now. We couldn't talk about it last week.
Can you believe Two Guns is at the top of the box office?
Yes, that's a good show. People like Mark Wahlberg and they like Denzel Washington. They're going to go and see those guys. I can't believe it.
But this is the first time we've ever told people to go see something and they actually did.
I think it's at the top of the box office.
It's all because of us.
Yeah, this podcast and people watching our review.
Number 2 is The Wolverine.
Yeah, that was a fun movie.
Making some serious money.
That was a fun movie.
Number 3, The Smurfs 2.
Don't have anything to say about The Smurfs 2.
We did not see that.
No.
Number 4 is The Conjuring, and number 5 is Despicable Me 2.
That was good. That's all right.
Yeah, that's an all right top 5 at the box office, even though it's been a shit summer.
Pacific Rim's going to get a sequel, which makes you incredibly happy. Today I bought a Pacific Rim t-shirt on Two Fury, which will also make you very happy when I wear that into work one day.
Yep, celebrating total pieces of shit.
Come on. Pacific Rim was fun.
Gutless, heartless. Yeah, let's have more of it.
Let's talk about Elysium, which I am going to say on the show today, if you watch the show, it's my favorite movie of 2013. And
it's a broken movie, though.
It's not perfect, but I loved
got a lot of problems.
I love the energy and the effort and the visual style of the film, the production quality. I liked Matt Damon.
The story and the characters.
No, I like the characters. I like the characters.
Come on,
I
they're
feel
all
like
stock characters from other films, man.
For sure.
Even Matt Damon's character. Matt Damon is a great actor. He's not given enough to do in this movie.
I think he's pretty damn cool.
The exosuit does more than he does.
He is a soulful dude that's wrapped up in this broken world. He's trying to do right, and you know, I love the idea of Los Angeles completely destroyed and completely overrun by a Latino population, and the full integration and that hope for a better world up there, and that complete sort of class-based cutoff. You have to be super rich in order to live with any kind of health. I thought all of those messages are kind of obvious and around us everywhere, but they need to be told and retold and reshaped and reformed into palatable, fun escapism. It's
a little condescending.
It is condescending, but it's also, you
think it's necessary?
It's necessary, and there's a truthfulness, and
the viewers and the people with an appetite for this stuff are well aware of these issues.
For sure, absolutely.
We're all very smart.
Yeah, but you know what? It's also palatable to a wide audience.
That's not my big problem with the movie, though. My big problem is a lot of the characters. Charlton Copley's character. We're talking about Jodie Foster's character. We're talking about Bill Fichtner's character.
Yeah.
They're all from fucking Casting Central. Yeah, I mean, they're all characters we've seen in other movies, and they've been done better. And they've been more complicated.
Twirling. There's some tying up people on a train.
All three of them are so one-dimensional, and that's a real problem.
You know what this movie reminds me of?
That creates big, boring holes in the movie, having those characters not be more compelling.
This is not Children of Men. Okay?
And it's not District 9.
And it's not District 9.
Not by a long shot.
But it's kind of like Minority Report. And Minority Report,
which I know you love and I don't love.
That has stood the test of time, that film. There's lots of incredible sci-fi in that movie. There's lots of...
You just want the floating screens so you can move them around in air. That's all you want.
Sure, all of that stuff was cool, but the prescient kind of look at the way advertisement was going to follow us and all of that stuff was really heady and way ahead of its time. That movie came out like 10 years ago. You know, that was a long time ago that thing was on screens. And there's a lot of unforgettable stuff in that film. But it also was mired in some predictable, kind of rote storytelling. The mystery around the movie was not that mysterious. And I think that's...
like it was more interesting than Elysium, though.
No, I think that's also true in Elysium. I think that there are dead ends in the way that the story is told in here. You know, and Jodie Foster is a bit of a disappointment, but I don't think...
Even the way she's killed. Sorry, spoiler.
Yeah, and I don't want... that isn't what I'm going to remember about Elysium. What I'm going to remember about Elysium are the incredible camera techniques that take us into the...
camera techniques?
I love that shit, man.
You're fucking killing me.
I love the immersion.
That's not what makes a great movie.
It's part of it.
No, it's a very small part of it.
No, listen, a movie isn't just about two people sitting in a room and talking. No,
characters and story.
It's an amalgamation of a tremendous amount of artists coming up with a single concept and production design and music and storytelling and all of these pieces.
Negligible part of what makes a movie good.
Not to me.
Yeah, you are.
No, it isn't.
You are wrong, sir.
I like the way that the science fiction that Neil Blomkamp creates feels palpable. It feels like it's really there. It feels like it's going to happen, and it feels like it's happening before your eyes. And there are some shots in this movie that I've never seen in a movie before.
Oh my god!
But
who cares if the characters are fucking paper thin and the story is bad?
No,
then who cares about the shots?
They aren't paper thin. The way that Blomkamp is writing his characters, and this was true with Copley in District 9, is that he is imbuing a tremendous amount of respect in people's attention span and intellect to be able to kind of connect dots. Now, District 9 had a better theme.
This is such a nerd case for this.
No, come on. It had a better theme, and it had a better conceit of it being kind of like a documentary kind of following
Victus is a real character. He was a flawed character.
I think Matt Damon is completely real,
his transformation is completely believable.
No, but listen, what was different about that was that there was this crazy alien transformation about it, and the movie itself felt alien because it was set in South Africa, and in a world that we are not at all familiar with. Elysium uses tones and characters and concepts that we are very familiar with, and an actor that we're incredibly familiar with. So there is not that alien distance that we have in there. There's also some pretty you know, straightforward American kind of messaging going on there about healthcare and all of that stuff happening in this movie that we're all, you know, completely aware of as well. But the way that Blomkamp, you know, shapes and frames and puts his stories together is incredible. And it's unlike every other filmmaker out there. I think the only one that kind of rivals him is Cuarón, the guy that's has Gravity, and he did Children of Men.
Now, this movie got away from him. He was dealing with some... Can I talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
He was dealing with some very big egos, some very powerful people in Hollywood. He had a lot more pressure on him. This is his sophomore effort, and the movie just got away from him. The story wasn't in place when, I'm sure, when they started making this thing. There are big holes here that are not filled in. There are real problems with this movie. I'm disappointed. I feel like I went in thinking this is the movie of the summer. This is the movie of the year, and it's not.
Well, it's my favorite movie of the year, and I would agree with you that there are big disappointments in the movie. I would absolutely agree with that. And I also think that he did have the pressure of having a lot more money to spend and a lot more...
He's got fucking Matt Damon to deal with. He's got Jodie Foster to deal with.
I don't think those two are the problems here. I think those two are consummate professionals that are team.
No, but I'm saying if you're a new director, relatively new, you've made one film that was critically well received, made a little bit of money, you're kind of a hero to people like us. And you know, you're trying to use, you've got tools in the toolbox that are so much more powerful than Charlton Copley's character in District 9. You've got Matt Damon, fucking one of the most bankable, biggest movie stars in the world, most recognizable movie star.
Yeah, but
you've got to manage this guy.
He is also capable of being in shit movies. Remember Green Zone? I mean, he's capable of, you know, being a good thing in a crap film, you know.
I just think it got too big. He got too ambitious.
I think it's the studio
too
possibly asking him to escalate the sort of you know, the notes that people predict in these big summer blockbusters, for sure. You know, and also when you start to make it more appealing to an American Hollywood-style audience, which District 9 really didn't, and it didn't connect in that way either. It wasn't that size of a hit. It was a great film that a lot of people appreciated, but it wasn't a blockbuster that changed everything.
But it made him a hero to us.
Yeah, he was. It was maybe our favorite movie of that year, but it wasn't for everybody. And I think, you know, when you taper and have the budgets and the big studio kind of backing like you had with Elysium, you have to make concessions. And I don't think every one of those concessions was the right move. And that's what undermines the overall, you know, classic caliber quality of this film. But there's still enough ballsiness, there's still enough gutsy, you know, pieces in this movie that make it the most entertaining piece of filmmaking I saw in 2013 so far. The next would be Iron Man 3.
I was surprisingly bored by this. There just wasn't enough going on here, and I'm disappointed, and I'm heartbroken, honestly.
You know, the thing that keeps ringing in my ears is just how on point Lucas and Spielberg were at that fucking panel that I went to. They were talking about this. They were saying
this is right in their wheelhouse. This is exactly what they're talking about. This is
exactly what they said. They said that Hollywood could really suffer some catastrophic stuff. And look at the write-down that Disney is going through right now with the Lone Ranger. They said that they're always shooting for the fences, and 5 or 6 of these things crashing and burning is really going to change everything. Now, if Elysium also flops,
and it might,
because
I think it might.
It's a weird time, right? Everybody's trying to outdo themselves. I just read this thing with Lindelof. He was talking, Damon Lindelof, who's you know, was one of the creators and big writers in Hollywood on Lost and a bunch of other things. He's talking about the escalation of Star Trek, and he says if you have to start at saving the world, you know it's going to be ridiculous and huge, and cities are going to be destroyed, and it feels like that's happening in every single movie. And that's a big problem that Hollywood has got right now. So every movie, they have to have some kind of catastrophic, you know, city-destroying massive event, and they start to blur and look exactly the same. And that's why Man of Steel had to trump the Avengers, and that's why a lot of people had problems with the amount of, you know, city violence that was going on in Man of Steel. But, you know, Lucas and Spielberg were talking about this, saying that if Hollywood has a bunch of these things in a row, it could really devastate everything and change the entirety of the way these films are funded for the future. You know?
And that would be a good thing.
Maybe.
You know what? I think Neil is still a great director. I think he's a great director of smaller films, though. I
Well,
think
we'll see.
This is just it just got away from him. I
don't
really
know,
feel
man.
like that's what happened.
I mean, I think this is Minority Report caliber, and I think it's
Jesus.
great. It's great sci-fi.
It's not great sci-fi.
No, it really is. Science fiction on film. It maybe not be the best science fiction conceived, but it's great science fiction on film. And that is, that's not a huge club. There aren't lots of great science fiction movies, you know, that take you away and transport you.
But that doesn't mean we should just raise this up because there's so few of these things.
No, but
it's not a great film. You know what? Fuck the genre. Is it a great film?
It's a good film.
It's not. It's not a good film. It's a mediocre film at best.
It's a good film.
No.
It's a good film.
Agreeing to disagree here down in the basement. Your mom is yelling from upstairs for us to please keep it down. And I believe she said, "You two assholes."
You two assholes. You're just about done.
Yeah, we are done for the day. And so what's coming up next? I got a pass here just got delivered to the basement for Kick-Ass 2. So we're going to see that soon. We'll be talking about that. I'm sure I'll hate it.
Yep, Jim.
I'm sure you'll find some camera moves in it that you'll love.
I like camera moves.
Be terrific.
I like production, man. I appreciate all that it takes to build a movie, man. Or a game.
All right.
It's hard to build cool things.
So, yeah.
So this week on our top 100 games, we've taken a look at Sonic, Thief, XCOM, Mortal Kombat, Wii Sports. We've got a lot of biggies coming up.
We got a long way to go yet, my friend.
Do.
Yeah, hundreds more for us to get through. Yeah, so you can look forward to all that coverage in the coming days.
Yeah,
and
we're trying to figure out something on our site for people to be able to write us their top 100s. And
who cares? I don't want that.
I want that. I want to read some ideas. I want to read some.
How much time do you have? You're going to sit around reading people's top 100s? You're going to look at number 1 and number 100, and then you're going to move on.
I want to see what people have got to say out there.
I don't know if we have that kind of technology.
We have that. We're working on it. We're working on it right now.
Who's working on it? The elves down in the workshop?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Come on.
The EP elves are working on it.
All right.
All right. Go see Elysium this weekend, everybody.
Or not.
Yeah, go see it, and maybe take in Pacific Rim a second time, but see it in 2D.
Oh, my God. I'll fucking strangle you one of these days. Fucking asshole.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right. See you next time.